Hi, and welcome to another edition of Boscov's Berks Jazz Fest Backstage Pass. And this is your exclusive pass made possible by the Berks Arts Council, and we certainly appreciate that very much. My name is Jo Painter, and with me right now is this year's very prestigious Frank Scott Award winner, Skip Moyer. How are you, Skip?
I'm just wonderful.
How's it feel to win that award?
Well, it feels good. I can't wait till it actually happens. when my kids will be there, and it's a nice moment.
Well, this Frank Scott Award is given every year to somebody who has contributed greatly to not only jazz music, but giving back in the community. So clearly in your career, that's important, even though you traveled the globe and you've traveled with so many and performed with so many world-renowned musicians. What does Berks County and the Jazz Fest mean to you? With that as the backdrop, your career.
This is such a great thing to happen in Berks County from the get-go. I've been part of it since it started, and it's a lot of local musicians that don't get the notoriety they deserve have opportunities that they wouldn't ordinarily have. And it's, I'd have people calling me from places to play, and I'd think, why do you want me to play now? All my fans are going to be going to the big names. They're not going to come out to hear me particularly during the festival, but they didn't care, and they just wanted to be part of the whole thing. And it's so fabulous the way we have so many volunteers. My wife volunteers.
Does she?
Yeah, and she always says, who should I volunteer for? And I go through the list.
Oh, come on, you tell her, well, my show, right? My show.
So, yeah, it's great. It's great. And I really like the fact that they have an educational component.
Do you get involved in that?
I show up. I don't have a degree in music, and it's kind of, they have the music educators locally that have their degrees and whatnot. I'm not part of that club, so I don't get involved in that much. But I encourage my students to go. And
now wait a minute, back up. You just said you encourage your students to go. What students?
What students?
Yeah.
Well, I give bass lessons.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact.
So you do teach,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. But I don't have an educational degree. I graduated from the Navy School of Music.
Well, that's a pretty hard school to graduate from.
It has its moments.
I'm sure. Okay.
Good ones and bad ones. But I met a lot of great players there. In fact, one of the guys in the band I was in is named Dennis Sywell. He's from Lehighton. And he ended up playing with the Paul McCartney Band, Wings.
Oh, wow. You're kidding.
And Vaughn Weister, he played bass trombone with the Woody Herman Band for years. And there's some really good players. Especially during peacetime, you'll have a lot of great, they're pretty picky about, during a wartime, there's more people available, but during peacetime, you have to really be able to play to get in.
It's interesting because I think all of us, when we're growing up, and if you have this dream that, you want to be a great bassist one day or a great singer, you want to do something with music and you want to be on that marquee on the stage. And we have this vision of, this world renowned, like a Paul McCartney and the Wings or something like that. But with Boscov's Berks Jazz Fest, there's so much talent, and all of these people are making a living by creating and sharing beautiful music. And so that when you're working with your students, and they've got to be inspired not just by your ability to teach them, but looking at your career path and all the people that you've performed with. So that's pretty impressive and fulfilling. It doesn't have to be the Paul McCartney. And so you get it all right here.
Well, I am really happy this year because most years my students were the ones that played bass with the county jazz band, which was open to the county school people. And this year, Nick D'Oliveira is going to be playing bass. Last year was one of the first years I didn't have a student do it, and it's because people that were actually qualified to play weren't interested in doing it. You know, there's so many different kinds of music, and their pursuits were more towards the classical vein, even though they do jazz a little bit. So I'm happy that I have a student performing this year.
When you teach jazz,
yes.
How do you teach jazz? Because it's so much just extemporaneous. Just go with it.
Well, it starts from how to hold the bass, how to pull the string, and then you get into the harmony aspect of it and how it works. I usually start by teaching the blues, because that's the fundamental for rock and roll and jazz too. So, and gospel roots. It's all part of the same thing, blues.
Why did you get into the band in the Navy? I mean, where was your inspiration in all of this to say, okay, I want to play the bass? How'd that happen?
Well, actually, I wanted to play an instrument for years. When I was 10 years old, I used to go down to Shirelli Brothers. I bought my first jazz record at Shirelli. My first record, I didn't even own a record player. I bought an Oscar Peterson record because he did this great boogie woogie thing on the front of it, you know, and I was like, whoa, listen to this. And I still have that record, as a matter of fact. It was Sonny Stitt, who's an alto sax player, and Oscar Peterson. But anyway, and then I got into high school, and I actually grew up in hillbilly parks locally, because my Uncle Mo had a bingo stand, and my parents would work at the stand with him, and so I'd be roaming around the hillbilly parks, and we had all the big names, you know. Oh God, I can't even. There are just so many, but let me think. I'm drawing a blank in my brain.
I'm going with the hillbilly parks and go, where is that?
It's
like the Morgantown Fair?
Well, it was like
kind of
Himmelreich's Grove, and then there was the Fireman Carnivals up in Denver and Reamstown.
Big names would come to those fairs.
Yeah, Bill Monroe and Webb Pierce and Farron Young and.
So they all inspired you.
Who was the guy that did that?
You're going to ask me.
He did a movie, he did the music. Bill Haley and the Comets, they would play, because he was actually a hillbilly originally. And Earl Scruggs and Minnie Pearl and, oh my God.
No, wait, all these names were here in this area.
Oh,
performing
yeah.
at the different firemen's
yeah.
fairs and carnivals.
Yeah.
How about that?
So anyway, I wanted to play steel guitar. That's what I really wanted to play. And dobro, I really like the dobro guitar for bluegrass. And anyway, I went to my junior high school teacher, and I said, I want to take guitar lessons. No, you don't want guitar. You want to play the bass.
And he said, oh, do I?
I said, that's all I could do to afford a guitar. How am I going to afford it? I'll see that you can get one. Just get your parents to sign this paper. Cool. So I said, okay. So my mom signed it. My dad hated that she did it. Threatened to give her a divorce if she signed the paper. And then they got divorced. Imagine that.
Don't carry that with you.
That's a true story. And from the beginning, when I started coming home, I'm carrying the bass. It was right away. It all started. Oh, that's bigger than you are. Oh, why don't you play the flute? Blah blah blah. You know. So I've been hearing that my entire life. But one of the things that inspired me, and this is an interesting story, I saw a movie called Where the Boys Are with Annette Funicello.
Yeah.
And Frank Gorshin, the comedian, was a bass player with these Coke bottle lenses for glasses. And the soundtrack, I don't know who it was. It might have been Jerry Mulligan. The music was so great, the jazz. And one of the opening scenes was Frank Gorshin fell out of the back of this van, and he got all the girls. So anyway, years later, I got a call from West Fisher that I should come down to the Raja. Frank Gorshin was playing, and I didn't realize he was the guy that was in the movie. So we had a rehearsal, and I said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but you're the reason I started playing the bass. I thought it was funny.
His reaction, how destiny comes all the way around. I would imagine somewhere along the line, Skip, there are people and kids and students who have seen you somewhere along the line and said, I want to do that. That you're providing that same inspiration that has been provided.
I do music in the schools every 3 years with the string quintet, and I got a student, and he told me the reason he wanted to take bass lessons because he saw me play with that group.
See, so you're giving back. It's coming full circle.
Yeah.
You said your whole family, your kids will be at the performance at the Frank Scott Award ceremony.
Yeah.
What's that feel like? Do they often come to your shows, or is this very special?
This is special.
Yeah.
I mean, they come to things, but when I play with the Reading Symphony, and my daughter comes religiously, my son doesn't. He's more into trance and electronic music.
To each his own, right?
He could
It's
be
all
a good
music.
musician. I love him. My son's great. So is my daughter. My wife is fabulous. So she allowed me to be a musician.
So it's good family. It sounds like family is very important. And
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah.
like the Jazz Fest is a family too, that group.
Oh, you got that right.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's such a great feeling, the Jazz Fest. I mean, for me, Reading becomes the jazz capital of the world for 10 days, and it's just fabulous. I don't get a whole lot of sleep that week. Just even though I'm not on the staff and all that, I'm running around trying to see people play and doing a lot of playing myself.
Do you know, I was going to ask you that, do you know off the top of your head the different venues you will be at? We can always check it on the website, but I don't know if there were some that you're looking forward to. I'm going to be performing here.
Well, I'm going to be playing at the Manor at Market Square with Tony Lynn singing with...
oh, wow. She's good.
I think I have Mark Huber, a piano player from Lancaster, playing with me on that one. Geez, I'd have to look at my book.
That's an interesting point. You said a piano player from Lancaster's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is that? If you're not playing, you don't have that relationship, that chemistry with somebody, and a musician is just coming in, how difficult is that to click and jive and make it all happen?
I've been playing so many years, and I know people from a 50-mile radius that the whole thing is we speak the same language.
Oh,
Music is a language, the jazz language. If somebody calls a tune and you're a jazz nut like me, you'll know what inflections to do on it and how to play it and what key it's in usually. And yeah, so I can call people like that and they'll fit right in. Like we played a lot. Mark and I have played a lot over the years. I mean,
do you have a favorite that you've performed with? I mean, I know you've performed with the Reading Symphony. You've performed with another symphony, haven't you?
Well, I played with a lot of different symphonies. I played in Venezuela with the Caracas.
I saw that.
Philharmonica de Caracas. I love that. And as a matter of fact, 2 weeks after I was there, I was working at a jazz club in Caracas.
Get out.
Now, that never happens. I mean, if I went to New York, it would take me a year before I'd get called to play a job, maybe, till I got around and people got to know me and all that. But it was just down there, the timing was good, and they don't have many people that know how to play jazz. So they got a hold of me. I went out right away to find out jazz clubs, The funny thing was that people in the orchestra got jealous that I was able to get a job outside of the orchestra, which they never did. But I was able to provide something that they weren't able to do. So.
It wasn't symphonic music.
Right.
You were able to switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Interesting stories. We could talk for a long time, but I think we're out of time here on the People Chronicles.
Before we go, I want to say one thing.
What's that?
I just heard the third person do that coffee commercial you did on the radio, and no one does it better than you did. There's nothing as good as a good cup of coffee. Would make me want to fill my cup up right away.
It is the first thing you did when you got here to the People Chronicles. Nothing like a great tasting cup of coffee. That's right.
That's exactly right.
And on that note, I think I'll go have a cup of coffee. Thank you, Skip.
That sounds good. You should come down to my house. I grind my own beans.
Yeah.